just to remember the last moments of his dying life. Why do we, or what do we remember? We remember three things. The first, Jesus took bread. The act of taking or receiving calls us to remember the gift of God. God gave us a gift. And that gift was Jesus Christ. The bread is one of the most basic elements of the substance of life. But here's the problem, my friends. You can begin to worship the gift rather than the giver. And how often we worship the gift instead of the giver. Bread is the gift. And often we focus on that gift of bread and forget about the giver. In our world today, a lot of people focus on the gift instead of the giver. When we take of the bread and the cup, do we just focus on that, or do we focus on the giver that made that bread and cup possible? And when we take of the bread and cup, does it lead us to worshiping the gift rather than the giver? You see, every one of us live to eat. And that's the danger, instead of eating to live. Every one of us live to eat, right? I know, because this past week, our teenage grandchildren can eat. And eat. And we took them out for dinner twice. I'm glad we went smorgasbord. You see, do we eat to live? You know, there's 30,000 children starving today in our country. 60% of the people living in our country are obese. Everything in this world is a gift of God. But there's times we forget. We focus on the things of this world instead of on God. And if Satan can keep our focus on the world, he's doing the same thing to us that he did to Jesus in his temptations in the wilderness. It was all in the world. And on himself. Satan wanted Jesus to focus on himself, but Jesus didn't. Satan wanted Jesus to focus on the riches of the world, the land of the world, and everything that was possible, but he didn't. Satan's doing the same thing to every one of us today. He changes our focus and wants us to focus on other things other than the giver of life. You see, people do not live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. In John 6:27, do not work for food that spoils, but for the food that endures for eternal life, which is the Son of Man will give you. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry. John 6:35. That's why we're called to remember every time we come to the table. But you know, it's really tempting to do otherwise. We focus on the bread and the cup alone and forget about the giver. You start focusing on things, you know. I believe if I gave the cup